Hi, my name's Michael Weatherly.
And I'm Cote Pablo.
And this is
Off
Duty.
It's always some sort of like sultry voice, and I'm not sure why we go there, why it becomes like this sultry thing. It's not supposed to be, it's just a freaking name.
Welcome to Off Duty, an NCIS Rewatch podcast. Today on the show, Season 3, Episode 20, Untouchable. Tony and Ziva go into the home of a woman. She's a Navy lieutenant and a cryptologist, and they find her dead, apparently by suicide. Gibbs and the gang find evidence of murder instead. After pursuing the wrong clues, they lose a mole, but catch the killer. Today, Season 3, Episode 20, Untouchable, with our guest star, Matt Jones. I'm very excited to talk about this. Let's just go into... there's a lot of hijinks and practical jokes in this episode. There are a lot of... this is the episode with the fart. We won't jump ahead of it.
But wait. Before you go into that, can you please let us know what was going on at the time of this episode's release, which was April 18th, 2006?
At the time of this episode's release, as you said, April 18th, 2006, what do you think the hit #1 song was in the country?
Well, I've got it in front of me, so I'm just going to ruin it for you.
Tell the people.
It's Crazy. Remember that song?
I loved that song, and I loved...
That was such a good song.
Scary Movie 4 was the movie premiering in U.S. theaters that week, and Queen Elizabeth, the late Queen Elizabeth, celebrated her 80th birthday. Just shows you how long ago this was. Now, I'm going to read to you the episode synopsis, but my version of the episode synopsis and the one you'd find on like the internet, these are going to be two different synopses. Tony and Ziva find the body of a potential mole. It looks like suicide. There is a cat.
Find the little beast. Got blood on his paws. It's evidence.
I'm allergic to cats.
Oh, I'm sorry. I had no idea.
Tony and Ziva go on a stakeout and are very sleep deprived. There is a fart.
Oh.
Ducky's mother with dementia is there. She loves Abby, flirts with Gibbs, and reveals that, well, lots of personal things. I don't want to spoil the whole episode for you, but I get slapped on the head twice in this episode. Not unusual, but also I get to do some Sean Connery. Very exciting. What do you remember? So this episode, we could have had it all. It had it all, baby.
It had
the head slaps. It had a little bit. I remember the whole idea of my mother being an alcoholic and drinking the sea castles because she mistook it for her mint juleps, the sea monkeys.
Yeah, and also, can we just talk about how incredible Nina Foch was?
The river horse. I once swam with them while I was on safari in Kenya. Oh, dear.
Yes, and I remember her from Meat Puzzle from season 2, where I got to do all these scenes with her. And, she was a foodie. She said to me at one point, she goes, "May I ask you, are you a foodie?" And I was like, and I didn't know what that word meant. I was like, clearly was not a foodie. And I was like, a foodie? Is that like footsie, but with food? I don't know. And she was like, clearly not. And then I ran into her in a restaurant over in Beverly Hills, and she said, "Oh, you are a foodie." And I said, "No, I just like expensive places, Nina." Ducky's mother. They use the dimension as a kind of comic relief. Do you think it's okay, I'm asking, to use something like an inevitable sort of disability or something like that as a place to find humor? Do you think humor eases the sort of pain of it? Or do you think the world should just be an earnest, strict, linear, zero-sum, it is what it is?
Hello, Mrs. Mallard.
Oh. Ask the boy to pour me a drink.
We're not at home, Mother.
I think certain things sometimes are so devastating that we have to find the levity in order to make them more agreeable, I didn't think anything in this episode was offensive when it came to that. I feel like it was, if anything, endearing. And I feel like she was treated with love and respect, and she was taken care of by Gibbs and by, the team. And she was a family member. If anything, she was a family member, and she was being dealt like a family member. And she wasn't told like what to do or anything. She was just kind of like allowed to be what she was and encouraged. And, I thought it was very sweet the way they dealt with it, actually. And I felt that her journey from an acting standpoint and what she did with it was just, beautiful. There was, that she also found, she, in her confusion, there was this like, you could see that, mischievous little girl in her, the flirt and the, so you could see all of these tidbits about her that were just so cute, and that, of course, if she were older and able to censor herself, she would, because it wouldn't be the right thing to do. But even in that state of, well, she obviously wasn't aware of what she was doing. There wasn't anything that was, offensive about what even she was doing.
Do we need to discuss the fart in the car? It was scripted.
It was.
I was just kidding.
What about now?
You are disgusting. You do that again and I'll shoot you.
That was not me. I just want to be clear. That was not me and my intestines invading the scene with some ad-libbed body function. That was scripted. George and Frank wrote that fart in, and it went through network. It went through notes.
Yes, and it was actually, it worked because it was really funny, and it was handled in a really very organic way.
I don't know how that got. It got added in ADR, but I just remember I did a little cheek lean, a little. But I think that the funniest part of the whole thing is your reaction. You sell that particular body function. Now, can I tell you what my mom said?
Well, I know this because you and I had a conversation about it, but please bring it back because it's one of my favorite things ever.
It's hilarious, and it tells you everything you need to know about my mom in a certain range.
Oh, God, I love Pat.
Mom said, why did she hit him? He couldn't help it. Because in my mom's world, no one farts on purpose. You don't do that on
purpose.
And you got to remember, she had two boys, sons, and she had two brothers, but she's still.
And she was probably made to believe that no one could control that.
She was like, well, I mean, I've never farted on purpose. When that happens, you should have manners and just ignore that. And it wasn't his fault.
Well, but you know what? That's what Miss Mallard does. I mean, she does the same thing when she hugs Bert and she goes, "Oh, excuse me," and I actually thought of the Pat moment because it was so fun. It was so beautiful. She thought, "Oh my God, maybe." Well, certainly it was me. She wasn't think it was the stuffed animal, which is so cute.
Now, when you have had now, it looks like 4 car accidents in one brief year.
3.
This would have been your 4th, I think. Tony looks like he's ready to cover for you if that's what you are looking for. And you look like, as the Mossad super ninja spy agent lady that you are, you're ready to go in there and give him a little wink, wink, nudge, nudge. How's your father? And because as Ziva has told us, she will, whatever the job necessitates, she will get it done.
Well, that's certainly early Ziva. That's season 3 Ziva.
Oh,
I think things
early
change.
Ziva.
Yeah, this is
early. Do you think she was willing to give Donoso a little action just to get rid of that car?
There is a lot of probing.
I think she's blackmailing him in that scene.
I think there's always throughout the entire season.
Who gets head slapped?
Planting. Wait, you do. Of course you do. Because she's smart enough not to get caught.
On my way.
What was that for?
Blackmailing your partner.
Somehow you always get caught with your foot in your mouth. That's why it's so good.
If you've been a fan of Breaking Bad and you liked the Honey Badger, if you watched NCIS in any way at all, you understand that there is a cake-eating madman named Ned Dorneget. He's friends with my father, Robert Wagner, and of course introduced in season 9, was a recurring and beloved character until his tragic, explosive death. This is an episode that just shows you, don't hold in that gas. Don't hold in a fart. If you've got to let it go, be Jeff Bridges, just let it go. But as he was such an important part of the show and overall legendary guy, we wanted to have Matt Jones on the podcast a little bit to celebrate what I think is the spirit of NCIS, which is the madness and the wonderfulness combined with a combustible talent. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring you the Jones of the Matt Jones.
Hey, Dorneget.
Special Agent Genozo. I've been working as an alternate evidence custodian. Stop by the break room. I understand Agent Gibbs enjoys a mid-afternoon cup of coffee. Oh my God, I forgot my gun. Somebody bugged my mouth? This is all gonna be blamed on me and my bad teeth. Well, what kind of test is it? Nice haircut, Agent Gibbs. Yeah, wow. No way. I am not your personal assistant, Tony. Please stop. What can I say? My mom was wrong. All those years of playing Xbox finally paid off. Conquered this dungeon before, but this time I have dragon arrows. Excuse me. I got excited. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hi,
How'd you like
Mr.
that intro?
Jones.
That was great. That was wonderful. Thank you.
That was like, whoa.
It's,
I didn't text you or call you before this because I didn't want us to blow it.
no, absolutely. And this is exactly what I thought it was. You're already talking about me farting. So this is it. How's it going, guys?
How's it going with you?
Good.
I have 2 kids. I'm exhausted. I don't know.
How
Tell
old
us
are they?
the ages.
8.5 and almost 2.
Oh my God, the almost 2. That's
Yeah.
that's quite an age.
Honestly, there's this fallacy you're told about kids where as they get older, they get easier. That's not true. My 8.5-year-old is just as exhausting as my 2-year-old. He is, I'm his coach of his baseball team. I was thinking about like what has happened to me since I did NCIS. And I was like, oh, I got married.
Yes.
I got
By the
married.
way-
I had a kid. I got divorced.
Yeah.
I got married again. I had another kid. I've had some TV shows that I've starred in that worked out, didn't work out, all these things. I'm Michael Weatherly.
I think the last time I saw you was at a party, and I think you had just signed to do, Mom, the show, and
Right.
And you just came up to me, and I had just left NCIS, and we had like a very brief conversation.
Right.
And then you just said, "I just can't wait for this to just go." It seems to me like the reoccurring conversation that all actors have. Like
know.
the moment it goes, it's like, oh man, let it last just for a little.
Well, I was on Mom for 4 years, and then
That's a long run.
and then I just did Bob for 5 years.
Yeah.
And you'd think 9 years makes someone comfortable. It doesn't.
But wait a minute. What is comfortable? Can you please go into that word? I'd like to
Comfortable
analyze this
is
just a little.
the not waking up in the middle of the night and panicking. You know what I mean? Where you're
Okay.
like, oh, what am I doing next? Right?
Anyone who doesn't wake up in the middle of the night and panicking, can I see a show of hands in our panel?
Look,
Hello. Wait,
I
you know
don't
what? Let me
know if
ask the audience. Let me go ask the audience. Hello, anyone listening or watching the podcast, can I see a show of hands? Oh, you all wake up screaming in the middle of the night. So, Matt Jones, besides the fact that the minute, do you remember, I was going to say the minute you landed on set, I immediately thought, thank God Matt Jones is here.
I remember coming on set and be like, very quickly being like, oh, these people are crazy. I like this place.
Dorneget.
Special Agent Genozo.
Hey, brought you a piece of cake. Hollander's birthday in human resources. Thought you might like a slice.
Thanks.
So when you got the gig, was it like, oh, a side hustle, I'll make a little top of show guest star jobber and I'll go do that? Was it kind of like, I'll do an SVU, I'll go do a little CSI? Because it didn't end, or did they say to you that it might be a longer
No,
arc?
it was just a 1 episode thing. It was just, there was no, even on the breakdown, I remember there was no promise of it being recurring. It was just a one-off episode thing.
you know, and I know we say this a lot about the people that went through the set, because I think Michael and we can always speak for ourselves, but we really enjoyed having you there. And
oh, thank you.
And you were a little bit of a team player, and you actually, you know, you could joke around. You really could.
Sure. Yeah.
You could really like latch onto the madness, and you were like, oh, okay, this is kind of
well, with Mark, it's a laugh a minute.
Now, tell the universe of the Twitterverse of the NCIS verse, who played your mother?
Oh boy, Tom Cruise's ex-wife,
Mimi Rogers.
Mimi Rogers. I think I only shot 6 episodes of NCIS, and the amount of celebrities I got to work with was wild. I mean, Robert Wagner, obviously. I did an episode with Jamie Lee Curtis where I like sat around talking with Jamie Lee Curtis all day.
Looks like Dorneget's about to wet my chair.
No, you're sure you didn't discuss any classified material in the last 2 weeks?
No. Wait, is that a trick question? I did an episode with Mimi playing my mom, which was like I had a crush on her when I was a kid.
And do you remember it was Brian Dietzon's character, Jimmy Palmer's bachelor party or something, and we were all out having drinks on the fake back lot.
Yeah.
And we were all supposed to be like happy.
I've had enough.
Stop drinking until he misses.
Okay. Now, because you did point out that we were a little bit kooky and crazy, but we were not there was no like smoking pot and doing shots.
No.
We were not. We were pretty square. We were a square set.
It was bad jokes and conversations about golf.
Good, clean fun.
It was a lot of that. No, honestly, I've been working for now, 20 plus years. And NCIS was a very rare set for some weird reason.
It's true.
From, the actors, but the crew was also like weirdly cool. And like, I don't know, I've run into people off and on for years from that set where people are just like, hi, how's it going? It's just weird. I don't know. Where I've been on other shows for similar amounts of time and I've had no connection where like I did on that show.
Weird.
Can I just say the funniest? Well, okay, our table reads were always something, but there's a line in the script, and I think it's McGee, and it might have been Cody, but we're talking about your death and your funeral or whatever, and they were like, you know, they had a parade, and then somebody goes, Dorney loved a parade. Dorney loved a parade. Because your character,
I don't think they would have. By the way, I don't think they would have given that line for Zima. I think that's a
Dorney loved a parade.
McGee, or maybe like an Abby.
No, but your character was also, unbeknownst to you when you first signed on, a gay character in the military before we were, you know, when we still sort of almost had Clinton era don't ask, don't tell kind of attitudes towards homosexuals in the armed forces. And so, or in the intelligence, I don't know, whatever you want to say. It was Dorney loved a parade. Had this, it had an extra value to it. Dying. Because it was so deadpan. It was like, Dorney always loved a parade.
Hey, that would have been, by the way, my delivery. I would have played it so earnest.
I think that's why I think it was you, because I don't think you put 3 and 2 together.
No, probably not. It went right over my head. Yeah.
You were like, why are you laughing? Sherry, this is very serious. This is a funeral.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. Yeah. Those are the kinds of things that on the set of NCIS become kind of inside jokes. But also, when we're shooting the scenes, the jokes continue into the scenes.
Yeah.
But I mean, so like when I'm bringing you a slice of cake to lure you away from my dad's door or whatever, so when you're guarding the, you know, it's written that I bring you a cake or whatever, but whatever happens between you and me with the cake is from take to take. It's a different cake. Like,
you know what's funny is my son is the age now where he's almost 9, where he wants to watch things I've been in. And if I'm out in public and someone stops me for whatever reason to say that they recognize me, he now clocks. He's like, oh, you were on this, this, and this. So I've had a number of people stop me in front of my son for NCIS. So the other day, like honestly, like a month ago, he was like, can I watch you on NCIS? So I went back and watched that episode, my first episode. Like,
and
just
what did you think?
A couple weeks ago. I am so fat.
Oh, God.
That was my first thought. I was like, wow.
Really?
Not that episode, but later episodes. I got a little chunky. I got a little comfortable. I
think, wait, correct me if I'm wrong. I think you were about to get married or you had just gotten married.
I don't know. The first
but I mean,
marriage?
it could, but it could be the reason why you were, like.
Yeah, no, I was on a show.
In the,
Eating your feelings. Eating your feelings.
I was eating everyone's feelings. Anyhow, I was watching that episode and I was like, oh my God, that scene was easily half improvised. That cake scene.
Yeah.
Like that was only half written. Like you're just talking nonsense for so long in that scene.
She was dressed as a nun and you were dressed as Leroy Jethro Gibbs with a little silver wig?
Nobody knew about that.
Nothing's well.
I'm just looking at you while you just talk. And also because you are improvising there, that doesn't line up with, it's hard to explain, but
it's really not. Go on.
In that scene, you talk about me doing something questionable with a woman, and that's how you're blackmailing me to get into the room with your dad.
Right.
And then I was like, but I'm gay. And then you're like, oh, the writers, there was no, because it wasn't written down. There's no consistency there. So I think Dorneget wasn't just gay. I think he had sex with everybody, apparently.
He was pansexual.
He was pansexual.
I think that's true. I think you get that from also the eating.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that you consume sexually and everything. You will eat and screw everything. You're pure id. And that's why you blew up ultimately.
I mean, the amount of things I've done in my career where I'm eating, and that's the joke. It's funny because he's eating. It's insane. A lot. It's happened a lot.
How did you start? You started really young, and then you kind of never stopped, right?
So long story short, I was doing like comedy in LA when I was really young, at like 17, 18. And then I started doing commercials, and I could not get, and I was doing, I think I did 40 commercials, but I could not get auditions. I just couldn't get auditions for anything. So when I was like 21, I auditioned for a job and I got it, and I took it in Amsterdam. And I lived in Holland for 3 years doing, I toured and did comedy. There's this place called Boom Chicago in Amsterdam. It's still there, but not the way that it was when I was there. But people that had done it were like, there's like 10 different SNL people used to do it. And at that time, Mad TV, people like Seth Meyers, Jordan Peele, ton of different people were a part of this theater. And I was a part of it with them. And I went and I did it for 3 years, and I came back and I took some silly acting class. And in that acting class was this woman, and I walked up to her. At this point, I was only 25, and I was like, hey, I need a manager. Like, I need somebody. I need you to help me to just get an audition. Get me into the room with anyone.
And wait, she was in the acting class? Like she was like an actor, like taking
She was
she was a manager
she was
too, or?
running the acting class.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay, so she was the teacher.
Yeah, she was doing like a casting director who worked in an executive casting director. And I just, at the end of class, I was like, you were nice. You said I was good. Can you actually help me? And she set me up with this manager to meet him. And the first audition he sent me on was Breaking Bad.
You're kidding me, Matt.
Yeah.
And
and that was in
off.
2007.
You have to stay flexible and malleable. And I think that it sounds to me like that Amsterdam boom, Chicago is very much like teaching you to just stay more flexible than Tom Brady.
I mean, I was doing shows for anywhere from 300 to 5,000 people. I did 1,000 shows in 3 years. And what's funny is the before I did that, I was obsessed about I couldn't get an audition, but I had a voice like a little girl. I did. I had like a really high voice. And I damaged my voice from performing so much that it became this.
You're kidding me.
No, my voice wasn't like this until I did Boom. And this was at a time I was performing in front of audiences this was Europe and 20 years ago, so everybody was smoking. So you'd be like doing a show for an audience where it was just like a layer of cigarette smoke that you were screaming over because people are drunk in the audience and whatever. I was screaming all the time, every night. So I came home and I had this weird voice and it became part of my thing, who I am. And my point is I got the jobs when I was ready to get the jobs.
Sure.
Well, you lived like a man, and on NCIS you died like a hero. Do you remember the last?
Can I talk about my death? I want to.
That's what I was going to ask about.
Please do.
What's wild, like people don't know about show business, is in between everything, so much else is going on. You see on screen this person doing this part, but you don't see what's going on in their life. So at that time, when I got my first episode of NCIS, I was starring in pilots for X, Y, and Z networks, CBS, NBC, TBS, stuff like that. And I was doing pilots that just didn't get picked up. So in between, I had to do guest stars to live, to pay my rent at the time. And NCIS happened to be one of those things. And then finally, one of them hit, which was Mom. I actually, it's a Chuck Lorre show. So of course it went. And so I ran into Gary Glassboro at a CBS event. I think I was, at that time, I don't know. I think I was literally standing with Emily Wickersham and Brian Dietzen at the upfronts because I was like hanging out with the NCIS people because everybody on CBS back in the day used to go to a party together and
sure.
It was so much fun. And I was like hanging out and Gary came over and he's like, oh, you got to come back. And I was like, I'm on this sitcom now. I can't come back. I want to, but what do we do? And he was like, I don't know. What do you want to do? I was like, kill me. So I pitched to Gary.
Wait, you're kidding me. You pitched your death?
Yes. I was like, let's kill me. And he's like, oh my God, yeah, we should kill you. And so it was my idea to die on the show. Such a stupid idea, by the way.
I know. We would be bringing you with us to Hungary this summer.
Hey, you know what? I look nothing like I used to look like. So, hey, Dorneget has a cousin.
Do you know how many people we've had on this show on off duty? That by the way say like, well, I could always come back as a ghost. Like NCIS did it all the time, and yeah, you never know.
Exactly. I could come back as his cousin. His very very cool, handsome cousin. But regardless, I pitched to Gary to kill me. And so that was my idea.
Mr. Matt Jones, I have a question for you. What is next for you? Anything fun? Anything interesting? Are you?
My kids' baseball team's in the playoffs right now. There's a lot of nerves around here. We're playing the Orioles on Tuesday. On Wednesday. I really hope we win. That's how far ahead I think now. It's like Wednesday. The future, I have absolutely no idea, but
But basically, you'd like to direct, you'd like to keep writing, you'd like to keep exploring the whole acting world. I mean, that's basically what you're still doing. You're still pursuing it actively. And
to be perfectly honest, I'd like to do whatever keeps me closest to home.
Home is right now still Los Angeles or no?
Yeah. LA. Yeah. I love my family and my wife and all that a lot. And I'd like to be as close to that as I can. So the artistry of whatever is, I don't really care at the moment. I want to be by my family, to be real.
I get it.
So you, and I mean, I guess we don't want to talk about it if we don't have to talk about it, but so you're not allowed to leave the metro area because of the court has issued an ankle bracelet. And I understand. We don't have to talk about why you can't leave the.
No. I just need a job within 100 feet of my house.
We do something every once in a while called game time.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm wondering, would you, because I think you're a perfect candidate for our game time. Now, the episode that Cody and I are reviewing today is from season 3. What we do in the wraparound on you, which you don't have to concern yourself with, is that we discuss an episode from back in season 3 that we find particularly hilarious. And this one had a cat that featured heavily. And so this game is going to be about a superstar animal. I'm going to put you on the hot seat. This terrier was transported by way of tornado to the magical land of Oz. Answer.
Toto.
Do you want to ask the second one?
Dorothy. Wasn't it? Wait. Wasn't it the little doggy? The little
Dorothy
doggy?
was Judy Garland.
What are you talking?
Somebody
the dog's name was Dorothy?
Somebody get her a glass of wine and some sort of amphetamine. Somebody get her a Judy Garland cocktail because she thinks.
Wait, no. Do you realize that I got so excited about knowing the answer?
All right, I'm going to ask the next question.
I just had to say something and then I realized, oh God, what did I do?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that happens.
Okay, I'm going to ask the next one. The white Yorkshire pig did not conform to his farm's social hierarchy and discovered that he had a talent for herding sheep.
Yeah, he was a New Zealander named Babe.
Well, you are 2 for 2, my animal-friendly friend.
Yeah, it's just a game for Matt Jones.
This anthropomorphic mouse, fully dressed in tiny human clothing, was adopted by the Little family in a 1994 movie by the same name.
Michael J. Fox played Stuart Little.
Oh, wow.
This trio, a golden retriever, bull terrier, and Siamese cat, had to face a perilous journey to find their way home in 1993's Homeward Bound. Can you name the retriever, the terrier, and the cat?
Oh, boy. Shadow, Chance, and Diane, I believe it was Diane Keaton, played the cat. Oh, God. Shadow, Chance, and...
Are you kidding me right now? Like, this is pretty remarkable.
Hey, Siri, who played the cat in Homeward Bound?
I think it was Diane Keaton, because Michael J. Fox played
Sally
Chance.
Field.
Sally Field.
Maybe that helps you a little.
Pretty
Was
close.
Chance was Michael J.
Prissy?
Fox. You're right.
Not Prissy, Missy, Sassy.
You are correct.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. And I mean, I'm going to give that to you because that was a 3-fer and you did it. Okay. The final question. This magical owl suffered a tragic death by the hands of one of he who must not be named.
Hedwig.
Cronies. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, which one?
Come
Which one?
Hedwig.
Oh,
Harry Potter.
I
Harry
say
Potter.
it like as if I knew this so well.
I did Celebrity, what's it called? Celebrity Jeopardy, Rock and Roll Celebrity Jeopardy
Yeah.
in the year 2001. And I will say this.
Was
and
this Dark Angel Weatherly?
Yes.
Yes,
This was
Dark
Dark
Angel.
Angel Weatherly. And I
It
just
was a
have to
really,
say,
really good-looking Weatherly.
Oh, yeah. I
All
mean,
those years
just
ago.
Again, he's still
You
very
can
good-looking.
bounce
I
a
look like
quarter off his butt.
I look like I ate that Weatherly. But here's the thing. Jeff Probst was the host of the Rock and Roll Jeopardy.
Unbelievable.
And here's what I remember. I walked in there like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I got so fucking competitive when it came down. And guess what? I won.
You did?
I did. I got a final Jeopardy. I got into like it, and it was a John Lennon question. I got so deeply into that. Anybody out there in YouTube land can find that Rock and Roll Jeopardy.
During the strike, I had, I guess they were reaching deep, and they look to get to me. They wanted me to do Celebrity Wheel of Fortune, and I didn't do it out of solidarity. But I regret it to this day. I really, really wanted to do Celebrity Jeopardy.
You would have been probably very good.
And you know, I did Hollywood Game Night. Jane Lynch was doing the Hollywood Game Night thing. And I did it the first time, and Sean Hayes was one of the producers, and he came over and he was like, you're from a crime show. That was fun. I didn't know you guys could be fun from the crime. Like, we're not really a crime show, but it's fine. And then he invited me back. So when I came back, I was going to be with Lauren Graham and Rita Wilson on the couch. And so I thought I would do a bit, because I come from that generation that watched people do bits. I used to watch Johnny Carson when I was a kid. So you never went on a show without a bit, right?
I mean, it's like Shadow Stevens on Hollywood.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So I put on a tuxedo. Now, this is 10 o'clock in the morning over in like Hollywood, Sunset Gower, or wherever the hell we were. I put on a tuxedo with a loose bow tie, and I got a martini glass from the props guys, and I put water in it, and I came out saying ring a ding ding, and I was pretending like I'd just gotten off the bus from Vegas and I'd lost everything, but I was here at Hollywood Game Night to turn it around, to reverse the curse. No one got the joke. I mean, everyone around at the thing thought I was out of my mind, but the audience at home, watching was like, why is Michael Weatherly in a tuxedo? How dare he be drunk and drinking martini? I'm like, it's pretend, everybody. This is the thing I always try to remind people, like, it's pretend. Dorney didn't really blow up, everybody. Look, here he is, safe and sound. He's fine. I was not drinking martini. So 2 days later, my wife and I are going to Mexico for our baby moon, because she's pregnant with Olivia. And we're in line boarding the aircraft. And the woman behind me says, I thought you were despicable. And I said, which one? When I was Christina Applegate's ex-husband on Jesse? Which character did you hate? She's like, Hollywood Game Night. To show up in that state and to lose those points for your team because you were drunk is just unacceptable. And I was like, it's not real. None of it's real. Oh well.
Can't escape this void feel. Cries of lonely souls just fall.
I mean, one of my favorite NCIS memories is I got to spend basically 2 weeks with Robert Wagner.
Not too tight, Dorney.
Hey, Junior, where you been?
What's going on here?
He is so weird and so unintentionally funny. Like, he doesn't know how funny he is. I brought a season 1 copy of DVD of Heart to Heart, and as for him to sign, and he wrote, "I learned everything from you." Hey, Matt, I learned everything from you, Robert Wagner, on the front of my Heart to Heart. He had so many stories that I can't tell. And then others just like he was talking about an agent, one of his agents. He's like, oh, well, I owe him, I owe him. And I was like, why? And he's like, oh, well, because he stopped me from killing Warren Beatty. It's like, what do you mean? He's like, I had a board with a nail in it, and I was hiding in an alley, and I was going to kill Warren Beatty. And he came out, and he stopped me. And I was like, that's, that Hollywood is gone. By the way, you guys don't look a day older than the last time I saw you. Not a day older.
Keeping it real.
Dorney. Like, Dorney. And this is us with the apps. We've turned our apps on. Like, imagine what it looks out without the filters.
Oh yeah, you have no idea.
I look like Robert Wagner. Wait,
94 years old.
94.
It has been a beautiful, wonderful time. Thank you. I'm sending you big kisses.
Yeah. Thank you for being a part of this. Didn't it make you a little bit nostalgic? It kind of did for me.
Yes.
First of all, and I have to say this, and it's not just because
he's so real. He's so real.
He is, but also it's so cool to hear from somebody like Jones that's been on so many sets to say like, hey, you know what? There was something about that set that made it uniquely special. It was just, you guys were like so weird. He's like, you guys were so weird and it was so cool, and it was like, there was something about it that was kind of wholesome too. Like, and you were allowed to be as weird as you wanted to be.
Yes, it was weird and honest and
nostalgic. It made me think of that time, and I was like, I had a moment where I was like, it was really sweet.
So what I mean for the people at home about Protected is one of the unique things, and Matt spoke to this in the interview, when you walk onto a set as a guest star, or you walk onto a set even as a new cast member, like you did season 3, coming into a show that already had 2 seasons under its belt, it can be very daunting. It can be, and I don't mean daunting, I mean it can be intimidating on a level that's almost paralyzing, unless you get the feeling that we want to see what you can do. I had a great acting teacher, Leslie Kahn, who told me, dare to suck. That was her thing. And she would tell me, when you go into audition, you're not there to try and get their approval or validation or hit anything that you've prepared in your mind. You're there to show them what you can do. And if it's the right audition room, they want to encourage you to be Cody DePablo, not, a character on a thing, not Ziva David. They wanted to see Cody and how you felt about it. And I think Matt came onto NCIS and saw that we didn't want Dorneget. We wanted Matt Jones. And,
but I will say this, I will add to that, because I think everything you're saying is true. But I will also say, I think all of us wanted to create a warm, welcoming set. And it was really a priority for all. Like, I don't think there was ever anyone who was just like, to like a guest actor. There was never that kind of behavior, and I always felt so, you and I talked about it a lot, which was we were so grateful of that kind of incoming energy. Like, all of these guest actors would infuse our set life and our life, because our life really was making this TV show for years and years and years. So we got so much from that energy coming in, and we were far away from everyone.
New directors every 8 days. By the way,
we didn't even talk about Leslie Lipman directing this episode, and she was so good. And I remember the interrogation scene between Gibbs and the guest actor, who was, by the way, terrific, who played that kind of like, the girl with the glasses. I mean, it was just such a good interrogation scene.
I was at Alphonse's last night. My boyfriend. I went straight to work from his house.
I don't believe it.
Like, I just detached myself from like, oh, Cody, I did the show for such a long time. And because I haven't seen that show in, my gosh, like 18 years, however long, I watched it and I just remember thinking like, that's a really good interrogation. Like the camera stuff, how it was like just right directly. It was just beautifully done. Beautifully done. And she was really cool. She was always about honesty, Leslie. Wherever you are, you were just such a treasure and a gem as a director.
This episode, where do you put it? A top part, bottom part, middle part? I put it in top part.
For me, it's top. Yeah.
I think this is top shelf.
I've been really honest with you regarding certain things. There's some
model behavior. We didn't model behavior. I mean, great performers, but it just didn't hang together. Didn't believe it. I was like, this didn't happen.
No, it's got nothing to do with the actors. They were always beautifully cast. It had something to do with just the way
this episode
was great.
Had a voice.
It had all of that, but then you have these, you had Ducky's mom, making an appearance. And that to me kind of heightened every single time we had family members come into the NCIS family. It would alter and it would somehow thicken the broth of whatever we were making. It just became a rich experience.
Human broth.
A rich human broth. Yes.
Thank you, Jimmy Whitmore Jr.
With Jimmy Whitmore. Fantastic.
In that alchemical way that I think certain aspects of season 3 have really shown themselves to be. It is greater than some of its parts. I love that I'm speaking in such sort of hokey Chinese fortune cookie truisms, but it is weirdly the emblematic of why people like the show, why 20 years later we're still talking about it, why we're getting ready to go and do our show on Paramount Plus over in Budapest, why there was NCIS New Orleans, NCIS Los Angeles. It's an episode like the one today. It's not because of anything else. It's because this episode worked and people watched it and went, gosh, dang it, I'll have another one of them. And they said the same thing in France and Japan and Africa and Brazil and Russia. Everyone watched the same episode and went, mon Dieu, I will have more.
Mon Dieu. That's exactly right. Let's do fan questions. So fan questions. Gary, Chicago, Illinois.
What?
How did you shoot the stuff with the cat? And how were the animal shoots on NCIS in general?
Well, I remember with Nina Folk's first appearance, we had the corgis, and I had to herd the corgis, which was like herding cats. I had to ride a horse with Gibbs. That was a fun episode. Do you have a lot of animal interactions?
No.
I had to run away from dogs across rooftops of cars with
I think we had an animal interaction once with like a rat. Remember we had these rats?
Oh, I had to pick up a rat by the tail. And didn't you have to pick it up and it got on your hand? And
No.
Oh, wait, no, that was Dark Angel. Never mind.
Another show.
No, a different TV show. There was a
Janine
rat.
from Kansas City. Ooh, Ducky's bow tie is very nice in this episode. Very stylish. Do you know if he picked his own bow ties or did the costume department pick those for him?
No. David McCallum was, I'm
very particular.
Very particular. His bucket hat that he wore to the crime scenes, the bucket hat, the glasses, the bow tie. If he had a Band-Aid on his forehead in a scene, believe me, that was there because David wanted it. David had his jumpsuit fitted, his medical examiner jumpsuit fitted. He had, he thought about everything. Do you remember his chair on set?
Yes.
He did not sit in a director's cast chair.
No,
he brought his own folding chair like he was going to a kid's soccer match. And it had a little pouch.
He was very, very particular and just very old school for a lot of things. And he loved playing this character and he was consummate pro.
Yep. And he brought his own things. And he also wrote a book while he was on NCIS called Once a Crooked Man. You can go on Amazon and order that, and you will be amazed at what you find inside this wonderful mystery story that David wrote on the set of NCIS between scenes. He sat and typed out a book, Once a Crooked Man.
Maggie Bozeman. Did Abby's hippo?
No, she's Maggie from Bozeman. She's not Maggie
so
Bozeman.
Sorry, I'm not, I obviously don't have my glasses, so I missed the comma. Did Abby's hippo actually make... Is this the reason why you sort of love me a little bit?
Yeah. Well, no, this is just extra. This is like the extra icing on top of the icing.
Okay, good. So makes me a little extra lovable, or not. Who knows? Did Abby's hippo actually make fart noises, or were those edited after the fact?
They were edited.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Okay, so we're going to go into something that I love because we kind of get at times a little philosophical on this. Gibbs' rule. Gibbs' rule of the day is rule number 1. Never let suspects, never let suspects sit together.
Yes. And I believe we had that in the Zac Efron episode as well. Never let suspects sit together because then they hear each other's story. So if you separate them like kids, right. So I'll separate Liam and Olivia and I'm like, okay, so the Sour Patch Kids that I found in the dog's crate, the empty container, who fed the dogs the Sour Patch Kids? Now, if I separate the kids, I can figure out just by looking at them that it was my son. Because my daughter would never feed the dog Sour Patch Kids. But I've got to separate them because she might feel sorry for him if he starts to get a little emotional. And then she'll take the heat because she wants to protect her little brother. Who knows why these criminals do these things they do. Or children. So Gibbs' rules were never meant to be a thing. He turned to somebody at some point in season 1 and said, never screw over your partner. Rule number 1. Or I think the first one was rule number 9, always carry a knife, which intimated or suggested the idea that there were a whole slew of rules. There was a whole set. There was he had a whole booklet of rules that were a mystery. And it was like one of those.
How many rules do we actually know of?
I have no idea. It's on the internet. But
I bet.
But this was like one of those things introduced, like when Ari Haswari was introduced, no one knew that he was actually going to be the brother of Ziva David, who was the daughter of the head of Mossad. These things are just kind of cooked up, and then we let them germinate and flourish. And then it's like, oh yeah, let's do another Gibbs rule. And the writer's room is that very prosperous place because it's wealthy with ideas. And we were so lucky on NCIS to have all those riches because...
all those rules.
Yeah, all those rules. But the rules would contradict themselves, or sometimes there would be 2 rules that were rule number 1.
Like this one. Yeah.
Yeah. And so which rule number 1 is more to your liking? Never screw over your partner or never sit suspects together?
Never screw over your partner.
So it's time to look ahead to next week's episode. That's why I put the big glasses on, people. Before we do not forget that you can watch all these episodes. And
they're so good.
You can watch NCIS LA, NCIS New Orleans, NCIS Miami, NCIS Sydney. You can watch them all.
NCIS Miami. I don't even think there is
it doesn't even matter anymore, does it? Matter. You can also catch new episodes of NCIS on CBS.
Next week on Off Duty.
Oh, good. A short one. This should be easy. Next week on Off Duty, a routine case for NCIS involving a trashed hotel room at a Navy lodge quickly turns personal when Abby becomes the victim of an assassination attempt involving cyanide gas while working in her lab with McGee. Quick reflexes saving the 2 of them from death, prompting the team to search for answers and uncover the identity of the person who wants Abby dead. It's season 3, episode 21, and it's a good one, folks. Bloodbath.
Foof.
Foof.